So everything that I had planned, Brian already went over. Because I was going to show a lot of those videos anyway, and I tried to reset some stuff, but I just couldn't do it in between. But I'll go ahead and give my 2 cents in, I guess, and we'll see where it goes. Because I did put some extra stuff in, so we'll just see where it goes, right? So we already listened to the former FAA. Um, I guess he was the acting chief of staff for the FAA. So my question is, why are they dragging their feet? Why is the Senate dragging their feet in getting Trump's cabinet um, instated or uh, positioned where they need to be? Are we going to see more crisis like what we saw yet the other day with the helicopter? I guess we woke up yesterday morning with the helicopter. Are we going to see more of those crises come out because of the lack of true leadership within these roles? It wouldn't surprise me. There's only so fast that the Trump administration can move. We saw the egg crisis, and they're just going on and on about the egg prices. Then we have this crash. Are we going to see more and more stuff as they're holding their feet? I mean, holding the confirmation of important roles within our top leadership within our government. Um, So there's that. We watched that and how incompetent they were. Um, why are they just allowing this incompetency? I mean, I guess we know the reason why is because they tried to take over and just have a complete meltdown of the United States. But so they allowed this guy to go through, yet they won't allow RFK to go through, which I watched a good portion of his hearing yesterday. Um, and Rand Paul's thing was just amazing. I thought it was great. Just backing RFK and not just common sense, just really lots of common sense. But so the the Biden administration was, or the FAA, I believe this was, um, Charlie Kirk released this. Don't know exactly what caused the Potomac crash. What is That's what investigations are for, but President Trump is absolutely correct that for years, across both Obama and Biden administration, Democrats put lives at risk by choosing to prioritize diversity over merit. And so this is a cutout. Let me see. So, targeting disabilities, the Secretary of Transportation has set a hiring goal of 3% per fiscal year for individuals targeting with severe disabilities. Targeted disabilities are those disabilities that the federal government, as a matter of policy, has identified for special emphasis in recruitment and hiring. The targeted areas are hearing, vision, missing extremities, partial paralysis, complete paralysis or epilepsy, severe intellectual disability, what? Psychiatric disability, dwarfism. Individuals with targeted disabilities greatly have been are yeah, have the greatest difficulty obtaining employment. This is not only this is the only protected group for which federal agencies may have been a hiring goal. So, I don't know. I don't know about you, but I don't necessarily want anybody in my government with a severe intellectual disability. Um, Maybe they can be the coffee go-getter, the coffee gopher. Maybe they can be in the mailroom, some mundane job, but not like that guy in leadership that had no clue what he was doing, what he was saying, had no business being the chief of staff in the FAA when he had no clue what that senator was talking about. So, um, this is the helicopter lady. She's a transgender. Um, so she got the position just because she was transgender. May not have been the best, but we'll get more information to come out as the investigation goes on. Here is the video if you haven't seen it. That's the plane right there. It's going to be kind of hard to see because it's so grainy. No, I'm sorry, there's the plane. No, yeah, there's the plane. And then you saw that light go into it. Here, it's going to play again. So that's the plane. That's the helicopter. Had plenty of time as they were seeing the plane come in, and then boom. So there was plenty of time to know that they were on the same path. I mean, a helicopter can move quite swiftly up and down to avoid collision, and with it being higher than it was supposed to be flying. All right, so this was something that is questionable. CNN allegedly had pre-written articles about the Washington crash online hours before the event, and lots of people have the receipts. So I know it's hard to see this, at least on my end. So you see that there was a report 12 minutes ago, 1 hour ago, and then you have a couple CNN 7 hours ago. Since 27 minutes ago. So how did CNN get the report 6 hours before the plane crash? Now what they're saying is that Google has an issue with timestamps on articles for years. I don't know. You be the judge of that. It's just really suspicious on why just that one article? Why just CNN having the information come out 6 hours prior to the crash? So enough about the crash. We'll go in and talk about. I had another video that was looking for. I might have to skip this because I had another video of a Tucker video that went along with this, but I hit my X in going through the tabs, I hit the X and got rid of the video. So I may have to just skip this one and save it for a later date. So I'll repost that on my Twitter feed as because it doesn't. This standalone, it's only 25 seconds. I need that other video to make it a fuller information. So we watched Bernie Sanders just get so upset when Kennedy mentioned the buyout from the pharmaceuticals. So this is worth watching again. So we'll go ahead and watch this again. Let me do something on my end real quick.
Almost all the members of this panel are accepting, including yourself, are accepting millions of dollars from the pharmaceutical industry and protecting their interests.
Will you assure the American people that you will fight to do what every other major country on earth does, guarantee health care to every single American?
I'm going to make America healthier than other countries in the world right now.
Will you guarantee do what every other major country does? That's a simple question.
And by the way, Bernie, the problem of corruption is not just in the federal agencies, it's in Congress too. Almost all the members of this panel are accepting, including yourself, are accepting millions of dollars from the pharmaceutical industry and protecting their interests.
I thought that was, no. I ran for president like you.
I could listen to that all day long. No, 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 no. Well, here we go. Here's the receipts. Bernie Sanders, $1.9 million from pharmaceutical companies. And look at this. Raphael Warnock, here in Georgia, not too far. We have Elizabeth, and he was pretty nasty to Bernie the other day. Elizabeth Warren, 1.2. Ron Wyden, 1.2. Michael Bennett, which I think he's so stupid, 730. Catherine Masto, 530,000. Maggie Hussein, 467,000. Luan, 375,000. White House, 350. Cantrell, 338. Smith and Welsh at the bottom. But, here we go. He's getting $2 million, nearly $2 million that's been reported from Big Pharma. So, of course, when RFK called him out, he had to go, no, 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 no. All right. So, Senator Ron Johnson subpoenaed records from Dr. Fauci. He FOIA'd the emails to show his March Madness versus Olympics chart here. So, Dr. Fauci's March Madness bracketology picks. So here he's got the coronavirus, he's got the measles winning over here. What is this? Influenza over here, Ebola over here. They come to the center, they put coronavirus against Ebola, and coronavirus wins. So I don't know if this was a true planning for the coronavirus, but I just thought it was interesting. Whoever did this put a lot of studies into the emails, because I wouldn't doubt that these are probably in those emails that Fauci had to turn over. So Dr. Fauci is the pandemic planner. I did hear that some country is wanting to sue or press charges against Dr. Fauci for this pandemic. We'll see if that comes to fruition. I haven't heard anything more other than just one post. I haven't seen any other evidence of it. But it'll be interesting to see if we can get anything concrete on Dr. Fauci. I do know that they're looking at some states being able to press charges against Fauci. So we'll see. Oh, here's Rand Paul. Again, I thought that was brilliant. His 6-minute speech was just was great. So here is in Kennedy's opening statement. It was a good statement as well. So Kennedy spoke from the heart, unshaken, resolute, and fully committed to the mission. This is bigger than politics. So let's take a listen to his statement.
In my advocacy, I've often disturbed the status quo by asking uncomfortable questions. Well, I'm not going to apologize for that. We have massive health problems in this country that we must face honestly. And the first thing I've done every morning for the past 20 years is to get on my knees and pray to God that he would put me in a position to end the chronic disease epidemic and to help America's children. That's why I'm so grateful to President Trump for the opportunity to sit before you today and seek your support and partnership in this endeavor. I will conclude with a promise. The members of this committee, to the president, and to all the tens of millions of parents across America, especially the moms, who have propelled this issue to center stage. Should I be so privileged as to be confirmed, we will make sure our tax dollars support healthy foods. We will scrutinize the chemical additives in our food supply. We will remove financial conflicts of interest from our agencies. We will create an honest, unbiased, gold standard science at HHS, accountable to the president, to Congress, and to the American people. We will reverse the chronic disease epidemic and put the nation back on the road to good health. Thank you.
All right, so yesterday, oh no, not yesterday. What's today? Friday, Wednesday. I played the Maha video that the Maha Alliance, and it pretty much stated what Kennedy's opening statement. He just wants to get rid of the chronic disease in America, which I just hope and pray that we can get him through the finish line and into that very important role as HHS secretary. So I haven't watched this in full. This is something that I'm gonna look up and probably watch over the weekend. Tucker's got a new interview out, and he's talking about the RFK. RFK wanted to stop Israel's nuclear program stolen from the U.S. and register AIPAC as a foreign agent. You know, we've seen the video of Thomas Massey talking about everybody's got an AIPAC person in their lobbyist, an AIPAC lobbyist, that they have contracts with everybody in Congress, Senate and House of Representatives. They have an AIPAC guy. I'll have to find that video and play it again maybe. But let's take a listen to this and see if we can learn anything new.
Final question. Thank you for taking this time. Since you've been working on this for so long, and you did come out of, the most prominent of the mainstream media, the Washington Post, have you been slandered as a nutcase conspiracy theorist? I always wondered, what do they do with you exactly? Because you're not coming from the fringes. You're coming from right from the middle of the establishment.
I mean,
have you been attacked?
Yeah. I mean, the problem that they have is that I don't have a conspiracy theory. So the label of conspiracy theorist just doesn't apply. And the other thing is, nobody can deny the stuff that I'm talking about. Let me mention another JFK document that's very important and I think will interest you. One of the things that's withheld and is in the JFK collection right now is the testimony of James Angleton in 1975 to the Church Committee about the Israeli nuclear program. This is a 113-page document, and it's heavily redacted to this day. And the redactions clearly pertain to Israel. Now, is this an assassination-related document? Absolutely. The Assassination Records Review Board said this is an assassination-related document. It meets the statutory definition. Okay? If the president and this effort are serious, that testimony will be declassified because Angleton controlled the Oswald file on the one hand, and he was a contact with the Israelis on the other. So it belongs in the public record. That's another test of, is this serious effort?
So let me ask you, why in the world would the Dimona project, the Israeli nuclear program, which has never officially been admitted by anybody but Israel, what would that conceivably have to do with the assassination of JFK?
Well, it relates to what Angleton was doing in 1963, okay? There were profound conflicts between Israel and the Kennedy White House over the nuclear program. Kennedy was pressing for on-site inspections, which the Israelis resisted because on-site inspections would have realized that they had a bomb-making program. So this was a real bone of contention between the Israeli government and the Kennedy administration in the summer of 1963, at a time when Angleton controlled the Oswald file. So just the juxtaposition of those facts means that everything about it should be on the public record.
And Angleton, who was the counter intel chief at CIA, James Jesus Angleton, he that's quite amazing. Did he support, do you know his view of the Israeli nuclear program?
I mean, it's very hard to tell sometimes from this testimony, given all the redactions. But yeah, that's, was he secretly supporting Israel against JFK? That's one of the questions that needs to be answered by full disclosure.
So why would he be asked about that in a congressional hearing? That's quite amazing.
Well, because in 1975, the CIA had been revealed to be running assassination programs, to be running a mind control program, to be spying on the anti-war movement, spying on Americans. So, he was hauled before, and Congress, who was completely in the dark, had been duped or wanted to be duped. Suddenly their eyes woke up and they had to explain to their constituents, hey, what have these guys been doing in our name? And so Angleton was called in, and this was all, executive session testimony. So he was grilled about lots of things, about domestic spying, about the Israeli nuclear program, about the JFK assassination. Interestingly enough, he was not questioned about Oswald because even the Church Committee did not know the extent of the pre-assassination surveillance of Oswald. That's only something we've learned since the 1990s.
It is interesting. I mean, I have no idea what the truth is, of course, but it is interesting that one of the only major policy changes that Lyndon Johnson made in the year after the president's murder was, on the Israeli nuclear program, which he accepted. Basically, he dropped the demand for on-site inspections. He dropped the demand that AIPAC be classified as a domestic lobby. And, there was really no accountability after that. And the story only emerged, 10 years later when the Church Committee started pressing Angleton for some explanations. So I had no idea until you just told me that was actually a feature of those hearings. And so, of course, I mean, the American public has an absolute right to know what's in that exchange 50 years later. And this is a tough call for the president because he's going to get very strong pushback from his national security apparatus, supported by the CIA, supported by Israeli interests, to say, no, you can't talk about that. That's not permitted. Don't do that. Yeah, it's frustrating as an American citizen. I don't have any kind of real agenda here other than it's, my country. I'm a shareholder in America, as are you. And right. I think we have an absolute moral right and a legal right to know this 50 years later. So.
Okay, so, hopefully with the release of documents, we'll be able to get the truth. So we'll see. Maybe if we can get Tulsi in there, we should be able to get some more information. And I do know that I was listening to something, I believe it was yesterday. Even though President Trump has released the documents, it's still going to take some time for those documents to be public record. Especially, well, with the JFK stuff, they're saying that the information is pretty centrally located. But with the RFK stuff, it's so spread out that it's going to take time to actually compile and release. So we'll see. We'll see as time goes by, and maybe we can get some more clarification on what actually happened. So that's a repeat. Same guy. It's just Senator Cruz is questioning him. So this was interesting. I ran into this as I was trying to find something else to talk about. But do y'all remember Anthony Bourdain? There was a lot of questions about his death. And this is pointing to Adam Schiff. So is there something that Anthony knew that was witnessed to that would have implicated Schiff in something? Adam Schiff dressed up in drag and went to the Chateau Marmont in Los Angeles. The handler, 11-year-old African-American child with methamphetamine and crystal meth. The handler allegedly took the child into Schiff's room. The kid was unconscious and died of overdose. Schiff allegedly raped him for an hour, thinking the black kid was just unconscious. So did Anthony Bourdain know about this and get killed because he was going to come clean with it? I don't know. That's interesting. And is Kash Patel going to find out? Was that why there was so much anger coming from Schiff during that exchange we saw earlier? Could be. He's scared. So there's a report coming out about Tim Walz. We dodged a bullet on that one, so let's take a listen.
Yeah, Lindsay, CCAP is a $34 million state program that receives federal funding. It benefits more than 12,000 low-income families each month across the entire state. Learning of growing concerns about the program from sources at the Capitol, I started looking into some of the daycares receiving the most money. Despite many serious safety violations over multiple years, they continue to receive funding. And now some state lawmakers want an investigation into what they call a lack of oversight of the CCAP program. I started by visiting Quality Learning Center Daycare.
So it is that 14B.
Which sits right in the heart of downtown Minneapolis. Between 2019 and 2023, the Minnesota Department of Human Services found 95 violations at this location. They range from failure to keep hazardous items away from children to no records for 16 children, which include things like immunizations, emergency contacts, and medical needs. So state investigators placed Quality Learning Center on a conditional license in 2022. I went to the daycare's location several times, and only once did I see people there.
Oh, that's your daycare.
But I did not see any children.
So there are 80 kids in there?
No.
After school? Okay, gotcha. All right, thank you.
DHS declined an interview, but in a statement acknowledged Quality Learning Center was put on a conditional license because of its poor safety record. But it still received nearly $8 million in taxpayers' money since 2019. Its conditional status removed in 2024. I also went to yet another facility, the Minnesota Child Care Center in this South Minneapolis building. I found it at the end of this small hallway with a steel door, no windows, and no visible security cameras.
That's the sign for the place.
State records show between 2021 and 2023, the daycare had 36 violations, some of them serious. They failed to request initial background checks on 6 staff in 2023 and failed to request repeat background checks on 8 staff in 2024. Ultimately, the state would accept corrective documentation on these violations.
Wasn't anybody here last time either.
I visited several times, and each time, no apparent sign of any workers. And each time, no apparent sign of any children.
Think there's anybody there?
Since 2018, Minnesota Child Care Center, however, received $11.5 million in CCAP money. I asked DHS why daycare centers could still receive millions of dollars with questionable safety records over multiple years. In a statement, DHS said under state law, they can only stop payment, quote, when a provider intentionally gives false information or submits false attendance records. A provider is operating after a suspension or revocation of its license, there's a credible allegation of fraud, and or a provider refuses access to attendance records.
What does that say to you?
It says that the oversight is incredibly lacking.
I shared our findings with House Speaker designate Lisa Dameth.
Are we keeping kids in Minnesota safe? And what you're showing me here brings that very much into question. You know, Jay, you have pages here that are publicly available with repeated failure to keep hazardous items away from children, failure to maintain adequate staff-to-child ratios, background checks, failing to keep personnel files. These are repeated violations.
As I was looking into the daycare center violations, I also found a connection between CCAP and the Feeding Our Future scam, which bilked $250 million from the state. In 2023, a man named Abdikadir Kadaya was charged with stealing $1 million in taxpayer money in the Feeding Our Future case. He's waiting to be sentenced after pleading guilty to wire fraud. But we also learned Kadaya also operated Intisar Child Care Center in Minneapolis. The facility received $1.8 million in taxpayer funds between 2017 and 21. But the license was revoked at Kadaya's daycare was shut down. He has not been named or charged with any crimes connected to CCAP, however. Now, I've been asking for weeks why Kadaya's license was revoked. Late tonight, DHS sent over this 86-page document explaining why. Some of the more serious reasons include violations directly related to the health and safety of children and providing false and misleading information to DHS. DHS also told me they have 62 active CCAP investigations for family child care and child care centers. And as far as the 2 daycare centers in our story are concerned, I reached out by phone to the names and numbers listed as the licensed operators, and I've not yet heard back. So some new information that there are now 62 active investigations into that program.
I'm speechless.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So we know that Walls has been accused of COVID fraud, taking money and not going where it was supposed to go. And now we've got another massive fraud scandal unfolding in Minnesota with the DHS and going out what looks to be daycare centers that don't have any kids. So we'll see if anything ever becomes of that. It is a Democrat state, so it might get swept under the rug. Or will Kash Patel be able to take over that for federal? I doubt it, but we'll see. So this is kind of a random video that I found. Vietnam had no autism before Bill Gates introduced the vaccines. We know just based on all these countries that never had vaccines and now are showing rates of autism. You've got the Amish community that don't vaccine their kids. They have virtually no signs of autism within their community. I think it would be safe to say that vaccines cause autism. I mean, just as a non-scientist, but with all the information out there that they don't have, they didn't have autism, they get introduced to vaccines, and all of a sudden they have all this autism. The Amish have never had it. We know these vaccines have chemicals in them that the body has no way to discharge, and it just sits there in the body, crosses the blood-brain barrier. I mean, we've seen videos, we know, I mean, we've seen it. What little information we do have, it's so blatantly obvious that, yeah, they do. Why the Democrats can't admit to it? You just have to ask, do they have kids? Do they allow their kids to get these vaccines? Are they so gung-ho about the vaccines for their own children? And, you know, are they so demonic that they want to have their kids be injured for life? I mean, it's just crazy to think. You can't get in the mind of a Democrat because it's just way too evil. But let's take a listen to this video.
There's no such thing as autism in 1975, year 2000, year 2001. There's no such thing. When Vietnam signed the WHO, and when Vietnam signed into the International Monetary Fund, the banking system, Bill Gates and the Gates Foundation introduced the vaccination program into Vietnam. Now Vietnam has over a 300% rise in autism. There's no such thing as autism in 1975, year 2000, year 2001. There's no such thing.
So I had to play that again to get the dates. So when Vietnam signs into the WHO, the WEF, and after 2001, and Bill Gates, before 2001, they had no autism. They signed into the WHO and the WEF, and Bill Gates comes in with his sweeping vaccines to make you healthier, and now they have autism. Makes you wonder, right? So this is the last one. Just thought it was interesting. They're reporting massive wildfires in North Carolina that were devastated by Hurricane Helene. That is hard to believe because I'm not too far away from this, and our ground is completely drenched. With the snow that stayed on the ground for as long as it did, and then the drenching rains that we've had here recently, our hills are so sloppy. I mean, it's so difficult to get up our hills with the graveled roads because they've become so like mushy. The mud is seeping through the gravel, and we've had to re-gravel our roads, and now it's almost impossible to get up our hill without four-wheel drive. So I don't know. I guess my conspiracy mind is coming out. I just think it's too impossible for them to have a fire unless it's instigated through other ways, criminal ways. So just be on the lookout for that. Other than that, that's it. That's all I have for today. Y'all have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you Monday morning at 8 a.m. Bye for now.